What is up, people? Guess what? It is International Fight Week. That's right. We got UFC 239 coming up, and it's your favorite duo here to break it down. We are the Breakdown here on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network. I'm your co-host, Max Friedman, trademark MMA, fresh off a big performance as well on Between the Links. Joined, as always, by my illustrious co-host in the Netherlands, the one and only Big Marcel Dorff. Are you pumped for International Fight Week, Marcel?
Yeah, I'm kind of pumped for the International Fight Week coming off not so big performance on Between the Links, by the way. Yeah, man, let's get this thing going, man. I gotta say, I'm kind of like I expected two events. Dana White Contender Series would be cool, you know.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I missed the back-to-back International Fight Week events, or even the three. You remember 2016, Thursday
Yeah,
night, Eddie Alvarez, RDA. 2015, I believe there was a Sunday card with Jake Ellenberger and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I mean, what happened to that? We love the 3 days. It's a one time of a year thing. You make accommodations for it.
I fully agree, man. I don't know what's up with that. I actually took an extra day off from work on Saturday so I could watch the Friday event, and then they don't do a Friday event, so I have just a day off on Saturday. That's also good.
Bummer. Yeah, and like you said, you could have done the Contender Series. Everyone's in Vegas this week anyway. What about maybe putting on a regional promotion card, film an episode of Dana White looking for a fight? I
Yeah, but
mean,
yeah, but for the Contender Series, for example, you could have done an extra spectacular one inside a bigger event. People could go there, and then you highlight the fights you think are the most highlighted from the Contender Series. You give that some extra shine. That could have done something like that. Or what you said, man. Certain other promotions who are good with the UFC, putting a card there. I think that would have been good, but yeah, it's kind of underwhelming, man. There was also literally also no event on Friday which I'm interested in besides Glory, but I'm not going to watch that live, and that's kickboxing, by the way. So yeah, I don't know, man. What do you or do I miss an event?
no, I mean, there's nothing. I think there's a couple regional shows, but nothing worth you know, scheduling your day around.
Mhm.
Um, Big Marcel, you have two microphones on. I'm hearing like a little bit of feedback, or you just got the one.
Just one, man, but maybe it's my event. Would it be?
No, no, now it's gone. I don't know what that was. All right, I think
I
we're
think
good.
they're just a little bit deaf, but that's all.
That could be. All right. Well, we look ahead now. UFC 239. John Jones versus Thiago Santos is an upcoming event. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. That goes down this Saturday, July 6th. It is the main event of International Fight Week out in Las Vegas. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network wherever you get your podcast. We have such a great array of shows. The Not Safe for Work MMA show, they let the F-bombs fly in that thing. Fred Kirby, Kyle Steele, those guys are something else. MMA Yesterday, looking at events of years past. We got a Sunday Morning Corner Man about to release with John Franklin and Keith Schillen, Shill the Thrill. And then, as always, Between the Links, MMA's version of ESPN's Around the Horn. Mike Heck runs the show there. Panelists include Davidson Baker, Craig Allen of Fight Night Picks, and Keith Schillen as well. Really fun show. The both of us were on this week. Always a good time jumping on with those guys. But definitely subscribe to the Loudmouth MMA Network, and even more shows set to come in the future. So you want to keep those eyes peeled for those shows out coming up. Before we get down to our picks, let's take a look at the breakdown season standings. Big Marcel picked up a big win last week in Minnesota. Fun card, 9-3 on the night for Big Marcel, taking his total to 135 and 112. Still trails a little bit. I went 7-5. Big Marcel's going to give me crap for picking Junior Albini and Vinicius Mamute Moreira probably for the rest of my life. But
I'm
nonetheless,
done with that now. I'm done with that.
146 and 101 on the season for me. Big Marcel leads the way with 19 bonuses. He picked one up with Alonzo Menafield. I have 17. I actually grabbed two, Alonzo Menafield and Francis Ngannou. Called them both correctly that time. I have 7 underdog picks on the year. Big Marcel has 4. Big Marcel, we got to step up our underdog pick game. We're missing out. Like we're really
Bro,
behind now.
you're destroying me, man, with the picks. That's all good, man. I mean, that's the main part. The other one is like, I've lost the fight, but I did more. How do you say that? More ground and pound. Nobody cares. It's about the picks. That's just extra. That's just the fun thing if you do the picks right. But if you don't do the picks right, then you just suck. And I suck right now, and you're the best at this moment. So that's the hard facts.
All right. Well, we still have half a year to go, so we'll see. But let's go ahead, kick things off in the Fight Pass prelims. Julia Avila making her UFC debut, minus 240. She takes on Sweden's Pani Kianzad, plus 200 underdog. Kianzad getting the short notice call here, replaces Melissa Gatto in this one. Was not re-signed following her Ultimate Fighter heavy hitters loss to Macy Shea-San. Did pick up a win in Sweden this past May. Overall has won 3 of 4, 5 of 6 if you count her 2 exhibition fights on the Ultimate Fighter. Avila, meanwhile, very tough competition in her mixed martial arts career, holds wins over Marion Renault and former UFC flyweight champion Nico Montano. 6-1. Their lone loss was to the Ultimate Fighter vet Marcia Allen, but that was stopped due to an injury in a fight that many believe she was winning. She is 31, coming off a win in Invicta last year. Big Marcel, Kianzad, Avila kicking things off. What's going to happen?
It's probably the hardest fight to pick on this card, in my opinion, man.
Yeah, way closer than that betting line suggests.
It definitely is, man. I mean, Penny Kianzad, she paid her dues in the regional scene. She paid her dues in Invicta, and I'm happy she's back. But she has a very tough opponent in Julia Avila, I think. Damn. I hate to pick this one, man, honestly, because I'm really not sure with this one. Because, man, do I go with Penny, who has more experience, in my opinion? But Avila, she has some solid wins on her record with Nico Montano and Marion Renault. My gut feeling says Penny Kianzad, but I'm not sure, man. There's a short notice for her as well, but I'm going with her by
Got
close
it.
decision.
Got to trust your gut. I think on a full camp, Pani Kianzad is too much of a vet, and I think she takes it. But man, really short notice for this one. Give me Julia Avila here, decision. All right. We move along to a fight at 170 pounds. Ismail Nardiev taking on Chance Rencounter. Nardiev is a sizable minus 450 favorite. Rencounter, the comeback is plus 360. When I saw this fight announced, I was a little surprised and eager to see the line. I fully expected Nardiev to open at a minus 400 or greater favorite in this one. The Austrian Wonder Boy, man, such great poise in his UFC debut against Michel Prazeres. Rencounter, though, picked up his first UFC win over Kyle Stewart, a first-round submission in a fight he was actually a betting underdog in. Really strong grappler, but if Michel Prazeres couldn't solve Ismail Nardiev, does Chance Rencounter really have a chance to? I mean, Nardiev looked like the real deal. Still only 22 years old out of Austria. Big Marcel, second fight of the night. What do you got?
Yeah, man, your question is also answering the question, actually. If Michel Prazeres can do it, Chance Rencounter is not going to do it either. So, taking Ismail Nordiev by TKO in the second round, and I think it will be pretty decisive, man. I think there is a, how do you say that, a level difference in this one, in my opinion. So I definitely agree with the odds.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I think second round as well. I could see Nardiev taking his time, but he seems to be a much more developed fighter, both on the feet and just well rounded as well. Expecting big things out of him in the welterweight division.
Me too, man.
Headlining the UFC Fight Pass prelims is about at middleweight. Another big betting line here. Edmund Shabazian is a minus 500 favorite against the Welshman Jack Marshman, plus 400. Marshman, man, he really has not been on a good run at all. He has had back-to-back losses and had lost 3 of 4 overall with a failed weight cut to 170 in there. Got back in the win column over John Phillips last time out, but in my opinion, completely lackluster fight. I believe he also missed weight for that one at 185. I don't know where his head's at. Whereas Edmund Shabazian, this guy's been rock solid since joining the UFC 2-0 thus far, seems to be improving. got Charles Bird out of there early in his last time out of fight. We both picked Charles Bird, and Big Marcel, another big favorite. Are you going against the odds here? Or are you taking the big favorite here?
Nah, man, I gotta say no disrespect to Jack Marshman, man, but he's everything but impressive so far in the UFC. I think the guy doesn't fight smart, man. What am I to say? But that's just my opinion. I think Edmund Shabazian, he is a young guy. He has all the tools to be big in this division, I think. And he surprised me against Charles Burr. I'm not gonna lie, man. I thought this first fight against Darren Stewart was like a 50-50 fight where he gassed badly, and that's maybe a thing, that he's gassing in the later rounds. But maybe that's now fixed. I don't know. We will have to see that if it comes that far. But Jack Marshman is also known for being gassed and gassing in the later rounds. So then I'm going with the more quality fighter, and that's Atman Shabazian for me. So I'm taking him by a submission in the second round. No, not a submission. Um, we're going for TKO, not a submission. TKO.
Yeah, Edmund Shabazian, a lot of first round finishes. He starts fast and furious. I think he gets Marshman out of there in the first round too. Give me Shabazian TKO first round. All right, really fun fight on deck here to kick things off on the ESPN prelims. Song Yadong taking on Alejandro Turbo Perez, formerly Diablito. As you know, we both missed that old nickname. Perez sits at number 14 in the rankings. Song Yadong is a minus 220 favorite in this one. The comeback on Perez is plus 180. Had his 7-fight unbeaten streak snapped last time out when he took that decision loss to Cody Stamann, but Perez is still only 29 years old. Very tough. It's a very tough out every time he's in the cage. Meanwhile, Song Yadong, team alpha male, 14-4. He's still only 21 years old. Man, they keep getting younger and younger. 3-0 in the UFC, currently riding a 6-fight winning streak, coming off a decision win over Vince Morales. A talented guy here, but this is a step up in competition for sure. Big Marcel, do you agree with this betting line? And then also break this fight down, of course.
Yeah, man. I think Song Yadong, he's a fun fighter, man. He's basically one of the Chinese fighters the UFC is betting on right now. Team Alpha Male, he's trains out there, but to be really honest, I don't buy his hype. I think he's a good fighter, but he has definitely holes in his game. I think we saw that against Vince Morales, who took the fight last time on short notice, and that was he won the fight, no doubt, but it was closer than many people expected, I think. And we saw there that Song Yadong definitely still doesn't. I don't think he's top 15, man. And Alejandro Perez had a 4-fight win streak before losing to Stamann, but I will also say that I think he didn't win against Wynland, and he definitely didn't win against Sukumtat. So, man, it's tough to say, but I think Alejandro Perez is more all around, man, and I think he gets this job done by unanimous decision, and I'm pretty convinced this will happen. This is when I saw this fight first, I was sure Perez is going to win, and I really still think that after doing my research.
I'm right there with you. I think Perez cruises to a unanimous decision victory. I don't think Song Yadong's ready for an established top 15 guy like an Alejandro Perez. Give me Diablito, formerly Diablito, Mr. Turbo, by unanimous decision in this one as well.
We just keep calling him Diablito. We don't care.
I know. I love that nickname. I don't know what it is. All right, well, we move things along. We got women's strawweights coming on deck. Claudia Gadelha taking on Randa Marcos. Gadelha, number 5 in the rankings, a minus 230 favorite in this one. The Canadian Randa Marcos is 14 in the rankings, plus 190. Pretty tough fight to call here, though, if you're asking me. Meanwhile, Claudia Gadelha, 16-4, has lost 2 of 3, and arguably all 3, considering that win over Carlos Barza was highly controversial. Doesn't seem to be the same dominant pressure fighter that she was when she ran through competition in the UFC. Meanwhile, Randa Marcos on a little bit of a run here. Statement win over Angela Hill after a draw with the underrated Marina Rodriguez. So I like the way she's fighting right now, but this is definitely a step up from her previous fights. And she has suffered losses to tough competition in the UFC. Big Marcel, what's going to happen at 115 pounds?
Did you give your pick or not? Did I miss here?
I did not. You want to hear my pick?
Yeah, give your first.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Gadelha get back in the win column, but I like the way Marcos is fighting now. I think she steals a split decision in this one.
Okay. So getting back to you about that Esparza fight, if Joe Rogan didn't do the commentating, then everybody knew Gadelia just was the rightful winner. I think she won two rounds easily, but that's just my opinion. Randa Marcos, yeah, she did very well against Angela Hill. I think in her last fight, was really impressed with the quick armbar she got. Quick armbar first round. Um, Man, I mean, Gadelia hasn't looked the same since like 2 years ago. I think after she fought Andrade, when she got slammed all around the octagon, literally. But I think there's a huge gap in the level and quality in here. So I think Gadelia will easily win this fight by submission in the first round.
Big Marcel taking the former title challenger to submit Randa Marcos in the first.
Nothing to against Randall Marcus because I really like her too as well. But I really think there's a huge difference in level here.
Okay, cool. All right, well, we move along here. We got a fight at bantamweight. Marlon Chito Vera taking on the UFC newcomer Nolene Hernandez. Chito Vera was kind of on a tear himself. I mean, he's finished Luigi Burin, Guido Canetti, and Frankie Saenz all with ease in his last three. Was due for that big step up in competition with Sean O'Malley. He has fought some tough guys in the past, but he still has yet to find a way to get it done when he's taken on those tough competitions. And he does have a proven regional talent in Hernandez in this one, but not quite the same buzz that Sean O'Malley had. Vera, he's seemed to really improve since joining Team Oyama. I'll give him that. Meanwhile, Nolene Hernandez, 25, trains out of AKA. Suave is his nickname. He's 10-2 on his record. He has 4 straight wins, all by decision. And in fact, he only has finished 3 guys in his 10 pro wins. So a little surprised to see a guy like this get signed. Granted, it was a very short notice fight that I believe it was less than a week. But he also actually took a boxing match in May and came up on the wrong side of that, lost a decision there. However, he was in camp to face Anthony Burchak, but not till the end of the month. That was a fight scheduled in LFA. So a very tall order on short notice here. I have not seen the odds for this. I would imagine Vera is a favorite. Big Marcel, what's going to happen in this one?
I want to ask you now. We're talking about this. What do you think about the Draco Rodriguez situation?
Oh man, that's tough to see. To see a regional promoter of a smaller show, especially one that's pretty well established, like a King of the Cage, block one of their contracted fighters from opting out to achieve their dream and go to the big show. I mean, what's going on there? I mean, there's got to be more behind the scenes, but on the surface, that just looks terrible.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And Marlon Vera, meanwhile, is a minus 350 favorite in this. Nolene Hernandez plus 260.
Okay. Yeah. Also, I heard that the promoter said that he wanted to have $50,000 if he would let him go, Draco. So I was like,
Is Draco, was he even scheduled to fight?
no, he was scheduled to fight, but he pulled out like a week ago or something. I don't know exactly how or what. So I don't know exactly, man. But weird story, man. Not a fun one at all. But I hope it gets solved and that Draco get his opportunity. Yeah, about the fight. Nolan Hernandez, he's pretty good at the regional scene, man. Very short notice fight here, 1 week notice, less than a week actually. Marlon Chito Vera, like you said, man, guy looks better every time I see him, and man, he has that. How do you say that? That factor that you really love to see him win. Definitely because of his situation with his daughter, where he had to pay for a lot of costs just people who don't know.
Surgery, yeah.
Yeah, look it up. It's a really pretty much a heartbreaking story. But yeah, I take Chito Vera by unanimous decision probably.
Yep. I got a Vera by decision as well.
Okay.
All right. Headlining the ESPN prelims. I'm excited for this one. The former Strikeforce lightweight champion, the former UFC lightweight title challenger, two-time title challenger, Gilbert Melendez is back, and he takes on Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen is a sizable minus 400 favorite. Gilbert Melendez plus 325 in this return bout. Big Marcel, kick things off here in this one.
Now we're talking about Gilbert Melendez, man. Check this one. It's from his Strikeforce.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So Gilbert Melendez, Arnold Allen. It's a fight we should have seen earlier last year. You know, it was scheduled before. Yeah, Arnold Allen. He's unblemished so far in the UFC, man. He had some very solid wins, but also some come from behind wins, man. That Matt Burnell fight, crazy, man. He got totally dominated, and then out of nowhere, he took the submission. Gilbert Melendez, long time out, very bad UFC record that doesn't do him right, in my opinion. But I've never been high on Arnold Allen, to be honest. Arnold Allen is, for me, in the Makwan Amirkhani thing. He's good, but he's never been really tested, in my opinion. And Gilbert Melendez, although he hasn't been the same, he's a real big test, I think, for him. So I'm taking Gilbert Melendez here, the underdog, getting it done by unanimous decision.
Wow. Talk about a hot take right here. Big Marcel. So 6 years ago, Gilbert Melendez was the man, one of the best in the world. Arnold Allen, you mentioned, still unbeaten in the UFC. Pretty dominant win earlier this year over Jordan Rinaldi. I believe you picked Jordan Rinaldi in that fight, if I am not mistaken.
Yes.
Allen, Mads Burnell, though, a name you just mentioned. How about him recently? 3 wins since the UFC release, 3 submissions, first and second round. Now the Cage Warriors, lightweight or featherweight champion? Featherweight. Jai Herbert just won the lightweight title. You're right. Love Allen and his growth, and I think he outpoints Gilbert Melendez pretty easily here. I don't think he beats the Gilbert Melendez of 6 years ago, but I think he beats the Gilbert Melendez of 2019. So give me Arnold Allen via decision. Big Marcel, you're going with Melendez via decision, right?
Yeah, true. Man, you don't know how upset I'm with you this week, man. First kicking my ass at Between the Links, and now going against El Nino, man. I don't know.
Hey, I love El Nino. It's nothing against that.
No,
I'm just picking the fight.
I also didn't pick him because I'm a fan or whatever. I really think he's going to do it. So just for the record, I don't pick because I want somebody to win, but I really think it's going to win.
Yeah, that's I'm excited for that one, and I hope Gilbert Melendez still has a lot of good performances left in him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, pay-per-view main card time. Big Marcel, are you ordering the pay-per-view in the Netherlands, or is it streamed on Fight Pass?
It's for free, man, over here.
God, I'm so jealous of that. I got to figure out a way to trick my computer so that I can seem as if I'm in the Netherlands, and then just
ask me for the website, man. It's no problem.
All right, well, kicking things off, man. This should be fun too. Diego Sanchez, is he back to the Nightmare? I can't keep track of all his nicknames.
I
the Nightmare,
so.
Lionheart, the Dream. I think he's back to the Nightmare. He takes on Michael Chiesa. Chiesa is a minus 335 favorite. Diego Sanchez plus 275. Is this the second coming of Diego Sanchez lately, or what? I mean, back-to-back wins over Craig White and Mickey Gall, and now he gets a bigger fight, which he got. Chiesa, meanwhile, went up to 170 after dealing with some weight cut issues. He went up, submitted the former interim title holder Carlos Condit, although Condit, we know, is definitely on the tail end of his career. Chiesa does a good job with his grappling, but Sanchez, we know, is a very solid grappler in his own right, and perhaps some of the best submission defense we've ever seen in the UFC. Big Marcel, I'm going to say it right now. Ring the upset alarm. Give me Diego Sanchez via decision in this one, but I want to hear what you got.
Give me Diego Sanchez by decision.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I think the same. I think also Diego. For some reason, I think have we ever seen Diego being finished by a submission? I never saw it.
Never. He hasn't.
So I think Diego is going to win this one, man. That's gut feeling, and you always have to go with your gut feeling. So I have a gut feeling I kick your ass next week, so I have to go with my gut feeling.
All right. Well, the second fight on the main card is an intriguing one. Jan Blachowicz taking on Luke Rockhold. This is Luke Rockhold's light heavyweight debut. He is minus 175. The comeback on Jan Poland's Blachowicz is plus 155, and he is currently sitting at number 6 in the rankings. I looked it up, and actually Rockhold's out of the rankings altogether. They took him out at middleweight, and obviously hasn't fought yet at light heavyweight, so he's not eligible. But Rockhold finally heading up to 205 after kind of an inactive run in the last few years. Had not had that fight in June of 2016, I believe, is when he lost the title to Bisping. Didn't fight again until the following September when he beat David Branch. Then fought in February of 18 against Yoel Romero. We know how that went. But will his chin hold up at 205? That's an interesting question to see. Jan Blachowicz is tough. He's coming off the fight where he got flattened by Thiago Marreta Santos. Big Marcel, what do we expect out of Luke Rockhold at 205 here and in this fight with Jan Blachowicz?
I expect many Luke Rockhold haters are going to hate even more because I think he's going to win this fight, man. I think he's a much more complete fighter than Jan Blachowicz, and everybody is Blachowicz is going to knock him out. When's the last time Jan Blachowicz really knocked someone out? So, man, I got to take Luke Rockhold in this one. Probably, I'm taking him by a submission, man, in the second round. I think Rockhold is going to win this one, and he's going to call for John Jones, but he's not going to get that. But he's going to win this one, man. I'm pretty convinced. When I saw the matchup, I thought, yeah, this is Luke Rockhold all the way.
Yeah. While Jan Blachowicz has improved, this is not a good matchup for him. I can see Rockhold landing that good body kick on the feet. I can see if he gets it to the ground. We know how heavy Luke Rockhold can be in that top position, getting in the mount. I see him grounded, pounding his way into a finish in the second round here. But there's no chance he's going to get a John Jones fight off one win over Jan Blachowicz. I just can't see that happening. Although we know it's a very thin division right now, so you never know.
It actually is not a real thin division, but maybe at the top, but so
at the
great.
top. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
at the top.
Yeah, because I really think in 2 years this division can be huge, better than maybe ever been.
Yeah, no, a lot of fun names to keep an eye on in that division. That's for sure. The third fight on the main card has a lot of people buzzing. Jorge Masvidal, game bred, number 4 in the ranks, taking on funky Ben Askren, number 5. Askren minus 240 favorite. George Masvidal is the plus 200 underdog. Big Marcel in Between the Links said that this is the storyline to watch. And because of that, I want you to kick things off and give us your take on this fight.
So, yeah, this is a pretty big fight, I think. You get Covington against Lawler in a month. And now we have this one. It's pretty much one of the winners of those two fights is getting Kamaru Usman later this year, I think. And I think the UFC prefers this one. I think Covington deserves it if he wins against Lawler, but the UFC will prefer this one, I think.
They don't want that fight. They don't want the Colby Covington Kamaru Usman fight. They're afraid it's going to be a boring fight.
Yeah, but then make it a co-main event and make it a boring fight. You got to let the people fight who deserve to fight, right? So, and do you think Kamaru Usman against Ben Askren won't be a boring fight? I mean,
no, I think they're both going to be boring fights.
Yeah, exactly. So, Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal. Yeah, Askren coming off that crazy come from behind win against Robbie Lawler. Jorge Masvidal, 2 wins in one evening against Darren Till and Leon Edwards. So, so yeah.
He might have gotten 3 wins, especially with that interview he gave too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm taking Ben Askren, man. I think he can take him to the ground and hold him there. I think Jorge Masvidal, everybody says, yeah, he didn't get submitted by Damian Maia, but it's different, man. Ben Askren is a wrestler. Damian Maia is a BJJ guy. So I think Askren takes him down, and he pretty much does what he always does. And I think he wins a unanimous decision.
All right. Well, Ben Askren, what else can be said? I mean, you know what he's doing. He's the one-trick pony. He's every bit as tough, though, as he is loud. I mean, not a lot of people would have endured those shots from Robbie Lawler, those sledgehammers. And controversial or not, he got it done. Now he's got another fight. And Masvidal, man, talk about a tough, just true fighter in every sense of the word. I like the experience Masvidal has. You mentioned the Damian Maia fight. What he was able to ride him, that was back in 2017. But I don't know if I can see that happening again. And what I like about George Masvidal right now, it seems like in every interview, he has 100% shifted his mental focus. I mean, from before, it was always the mean, tough street guy. Now he's talking about being a family man, trying to save for his daughters to go to college. I mean, it's just kind of admirable to see his whole demeanor change. I really like that. I just don't know if Ben Askren can do the Ben Askren thing in this fight. I mean, yeah, I picked against him with Robbie Lawler, and some people may have thought that fight should have been stopped. No, nonetheless, he got the win, but I don't know if he can do that to George Masvidal for 3 rounds. I just can't see it. Give me game bread, TKO, second round in this one. What are your thoughts there, Big Marcel?
My thought is that Ben Askren is sort of Johnny Walker for you, I
think. He's quickly becoming that. All right. Well,
and if people now like, what does he mean? He never picked Johnny Walker before, so that's why I said it.
Yeah, 0 for 3 in picking Johnny Walker fights. Co-main event time. We got the first of our doubleheader of championship fights. Amanda Nunes defends her UFC women's bantamweight title against Holly Holm, the number 2 ranked 135-pound fighter. Nunes is a sizable minus 350 favorite. Holly Holm is plus 280. She is a former UFC bantamweight champion. Important to point that out. I mean, what else can be said about Amanda Nunes? She is, if it hasn't already approached it, she is one of the greatest of all time status. Double champ in 2 divisions currently, absolutely demolished Chris Cyborg in under 2 minutes. Dominant at 135, had those battles with Valentina Shevchenko, but other than that, has pretty much badly beaten everyone else she's fought. Holly Holm, meanwhile, still considered one of the top in the division, but really doesn't come into this one riding a particular high wave of momentum. She had that win over Megan Anderson, but before that had taken a loss to Chris Cyborg. Big Marcel, does Holly Holm stand a chance in this fight?
I think she definitely stands a chance, but I don't see her winning. Holly is very technical, man. If she can keep her a distance with her kickboxing or boxing, then maybe she can do something, man. But I think Nunes is too strong, man. I think she can knock your lights out with one punch, man. That's the thing. So yeah, man, got to pick Nunes like 95% of the people probably do, and taking Nunes by a late TKO, maybe a 4th or 5th round TKO. And I think Nunes got 2 wins that evening, first in the cage and later against Nina Ansaroff 3 hours later.
Oh, man. I'm going to leave that one alone.
So you got to laugh about something here, man. Come on.
Amanda Nunes TKO in the 4th round for me. You mentioned it, the heavy hands, the well-rounded skills. I just can't see Holly Holm. You know, Holly Holm's a good striker, but I don't think she can endure that power. Main event time. 5 rounds in the UFC's light heavyweight division. Johnny Bones Jones, the UFC light heavyweight champion, is a minus 525 favorite against the number 2 ranked light heavyweight Thiago Marreta Santos, plus 410 underdog. John Jones, one of the greatest of all time, regardless of the issues he's faced outside the cage, coming off 2 wins here over Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith. Both have occurred in the last 6 to 7 months. Thiago Marreta Santos, I say this every time, but how this guy made 170 alone and more 4 times in 6 weeks is ungodly. That was years ago in the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 2. I just have to throw that out there every time. 3-0 at 205 since going up. Dominant KO win over Jan Blachowicz last time out. A truly physical specimen when you look at him. But for me, I'm looking at this fight, and I don't see anything that he can exactly do that John Jones hasn't dealt with before. So for me, it's John Jones, TKO in the 3rd round. Big Marcel, what are you leaning towards?
By the way, what's this bullshit with Dana with that we want to try to get this loss from Jones to set to a no contest? I'm like, Yeah, everybody knows it's a BS loss, but why out of a sudden we gonna do this now? Like five, what is that, 10 years later or something? I mean, what does he want? Does he want to sell Jones like the undefeated greatest of all time, or well, does he want to do something like that? That's just weird to me, man. That said, Jones gonna easily win this fight, man. If he doesn't get knocked out in the first 3 minutes, which won't happen, I think. Taking John Jones by TKO in the third round, probably by ground and pound.
Yeah, that's what I got too. I think it goes the same way. He pretty much won against Gustafson.
And if Santos gives it back, he'll probably end it with a rear naked choke. So one of the two.
All right, Big Marcel, we got to pick our bonuses and our contender picks of the evening. Who is your lock of the evening? There's a lot of options, but who you going with?
Um, Taking Gilbert. No, just kidding. He was like, oh my God, he's gonna do it. No, it's not gonna do it. I'm taking John Jones, man. Would be stupid not to. Are you
Give
taking
me
Amanda Nunes?
Edmund Shabazian.
Oh, okay.
I was torn between him and Nardia, but I'm taking Shabazian. All
Nah.
right, underdog pick of the evening for me. I have options between Alejandro Perez, Reda Marcos, Diego Sanchez, George Masvidal. Oh man, this is tough. Give me Masvidal. I'm going. I'm going all in on game bread here. Who's your underdog, Big Marcel?
Yeah, what do I have?
Oh, your options are Diego Sanchez, Gilbert Melendez, um, Alejandro Perez, or Panny Kanzat.
Alejandro Perez.
All right,
Diablito.
Diablito to get it done over Song Yadong. Fight of the night. Who you got?
Fight of the night. That's a tough one, I think. Um, Man, Gilbert against Arnold Allen. You going with Chiesa against Sanchez, right?
Yeah, I was leaning Allen and Melendez, but I'm gonna go. I'll take Sanchez and Chiesa. Why not?
Knew it.
Performance of the night bonuses. I'm going Amanda Nunes and George Masvidal. Where are you at?
Amanda Nunes and Luke Rockhold.
Rockhold. Okay. So let's go ahead and give us a recap. On the first fight of the evening, I'm taking Julia Avila. Big Marcel's got Panny Kienza, the underdog. We're both taking Ismail Nardiev to get it done over Chance Rencounter. Both taking Edmund Shabazian to get it done over Jack Marshman. Edmund Shabazian is my lock of the evening. Both have Alejandro Perez getting it done as an underdog over Song Yadong. Alejandro Perez is Big Marcel's underdog pick of the evening. Both have Marlon Vera defeating the UFC newcomer Nolene Hernandez. I am taking Arnold Allen to beat Gilbert Melendez. Big Marcel, a big underdog pick in Gilbert Melendez, the former UFC lightweight title challenger, to get it done in his return from a layoff. Both have Diego Sanchez as a big underdog to get it done over Michael Chiesa. That is my pick for fight of the night. I just missed that fight of the night for Big Marcel is Arnold Allen and Gilbert Melendez. The fight before that, Luke Rockhold over Jan Blachowicz. Both of us have that one, and that is one of Big Marcel's performance of the night bonus winners. Split on the big fight between George Masvidal and Ben Askren. Marcel's got Askren. I got Masvidal. Masvidal is my underdog pick as well as one of my performance of the night bonus winners. We are both taking Amanda Nunes to retain her title. She is also our performance of the night bonus winner on both sides. And then in the main event, both have John Jones retaining his UFC light heavyweight title. UFC 239 is coming up this Saturday. T-Mobile event in Las Vegas on July 6th. Don't forget to check out the Loudmouth MMA podcast network. Between the links, Not Safe for Work, MMA Yesterday, Sunday Morning Cornerman, all great stuff. Big Marcel, let the people know where they can find, follow, and subscribe to all your great content.
MMADNA.nl. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also, the YouTube channel from MMA DNA, you can find some interviews, and you can find my stuff on Big Marcel 24, Twitter and Instagram. My Instagram is kind of down right now because there are some problems, so I haven't posted the last two UFC fights, which are now kind of official. But
And that would be Joanna Jacek and Michelle Watterson, and then Andrea Lee against JoJo Calderwood. Is that correct?
yeah, exactly, man. I can't post them, so I have posted them on my Twitter. But yeah, and just yeah, man, just check Twitter often because always some new things on there and always fun. And also follow my man Trademark MMA. If you don't do it, man, why wouldn't you, man? You know, follow Trademark MMA. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you. I don't put the fight announcements and all the great content out there like Big Marcel does, but I always love talking MMA on Twitter. And I believe Jalen Turner right now is feeling your pain because he tweeted out Instagram trippin'. So it looks like you're not the only one experiencing those Instagram problems right now.
As
You
long
can.
as as long as I don't feel his tarantulas, I'm all cool with that.
Valid point. You can find me on Twitter, Trademark MMA. Not too much content out there these days, but we were both on the Between the Links show earlier this week, so definitely check that out as well. Talking some UFC 239, some UFC Minneapolis, Contender Series, a lot of other good stuff. Thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We will be back after International Fight Week to talk UFC Sacramento coming up. The return of the California Kid. Looking forward to that one. Thanks, everyone. Take care and have a good week.